Hello. I found an interesting editorial in the Hindu titled "A World Minus Ads on Social Media Outrage and Brand Campaigns." This I felt was a regular editorial, but I saw that there are some linkages with this editorial and GS4, GS1 Society, Essay, and of course governance as well. So I thought we can declutter it or look into each of that. So, what is the context? The context is simple. There were two separate ads. One was by Fab India, and second was by Dabur. Fab India came up with a collection for Deepavali, wherein few models were not having bindis, and I think they called the collection as Jasn-e-Riwaz, which means a sort of celebration of Indian traditions. Somehow, suddenly, it spurred a lot of anger and in among certain sections of the BJP, especially Tejasvi Surya. He said that how can a girl without a bindi represent the Hindu culture? You are damaging the Hindu culture. Number one. Number two. So when there is no bindi, there cannot be business, and we call for an economic boycott of Fab India. And it roused a lot of online troll walas. They trolled Fab India badly, and suddenly they saw that the brand name was falling down, so Fab India withdrew the ad. Number one. Number two, there was another ad by Dabur wherein same-sex couple would be celebrating certain religious rituals. So this angered a particular BJP minister. He was saying, "How can same-sex couple observe religious rituals? This is antithetic to some core beliefs of Hinduism." I don't know what his beliefs are, but with that given, they had to withdraw that ad. There were few other ads as well, wherein if I remember it rightly, a Hindu girl would be entering a Muslim family, and the Muslim mother-in-law and father-in-law would be taking a lot of care that they would be celebrating the lady's baby shower in Hindu tradition, so that she would be feeling comfortable. So anyone who see it, anyone who has some head, heart, and some brain over the head, I think would see it as something very good, very heartwarming ad. But somehow they found it to be very objectionable, and they were forced to withdraw the ad. So you see, we see there are three contexts where they were asked to withdraw the ad. One, because they were not wearing a bindi, and that this particular phrase doesn't reflect the Hindu culture. Number one. Number two, that same-sex couples are unfit to take part in religious rituals of a particular religion. Number two. Number three is that okay, the Muslim couple enabling the proper what you call graduation of the girl from one family to Hindu family to Muslim family as a sort of love jihad. Okay, they say that these are all not approved by our society. So other things apart, what the state says, whether we have fundamental rights, whether we have human rights, these are all one thing. So irrespective of having all of these, certain section of people are able to force their own whims and fancies upon the people who are having cross religion marriages, etc. This, according to the editorial, has been an uprising trend of late. Leave it apart. This is just to give you the context. Okay. Now let's see how it reflects, or we have connections for each of these in various aspects of our syllabus. We have links to GS4, society, governance, and also essay. But in the next two slides, I'll try to give a certain brief and we'll be done ASAP. So these are the certain trends I observed. One, the confusion between tradition and custom. There's a book called Indian Anthropology by Nadeem Hasnain, where he beautifully explains how our customs over a period of, sorry, our traditions over a period of time are just becoming customs. What is tradition? What is custom? Tradition is something which you celebrate it because it has got a deeper value. You see, the Diwali is not just about lighting lamps. It has got a lot of inherent meaning. You sometimes see these Sadhguru videos, right? He tries to declutter all these meanings. There are some very good books by that fellow, I think Devdutt Patnaik. You can read his books as well. They'll try to go into the actual essence of the tradition. But what's happening over a period of time, they are just celebrated as customs. The deeper meaning of the tradition is totally lost. So that is one aspect. And the objections, as we see, are all at the custom level but not at the tradition level. Tradition would always want everyone to be happy, everyone to be celebrating customs, and everyone to get rid of all their inner vices. Okay, inner vices like, okay, blaming others, harming others, hurting others, and they want to manifest their, okay, fullest, they manifest their divinity. That is what Hinduism or especially Advaita say. Leaving that, they are only seeing this as you versus me. One. Two, you see this human rights that are enshrined, or the fundamental rights that are enshrined in the constitution versus the social mores. How are they able to enforce all this? How are they able to make some person pull out their ad? How are they able to enforce things like, okay, name call things like love jihad, etc.? Though we have got a very forward looking, a modern constitution. So this is basically happening because, one, we have a state which is very, very advanced. The ideals pronounced in our constitution are very, very advanced. At the baser level, we have our society, wherein we are still having a traditional mindset. So we should always understand that if at all there is any conflict in the society, it is because of the gap between what is enshrined in the constitution and the present state of our society. Certain political parties or certain individuals will always be trying to stick to the actual traditional, you should not call it traditional, or the what you call something which is very comfortable to them, to the baser level emotions, leaving alone the higher level emotions which are provided in the constitution. I'll try to elaborate upon it later. So the conflict is fundamentally because of the gap between what the state is saying and what the state is saying and how the society is actually now at the present state. Next, and don't you think that all such kind of things would also be putting the business environment in India at stake? Because don't you, once you see them, you find them to be very sensible ads. But if one ad company corporate is unable to give even a saner ad, how does it reflect upon the entire business environment in the country? So these are certain things I don't know why even the governments turn a blind eye to. So these I found as some of the core issues. A few uncomfortable truths are the attitude of the government all through. You see, when such a thing is happening, when it is hurting your business client, when it is widening the gap between various communities, when it is, okay, becoming more and more sort of custom, and custom is not a bad thing, but when customs are enforced in such a way that they widen the gaps between various communities in the society, state should be doing something here. But the silence of there's a very good dialogue in a Telugu movie called Tagore, wherein I think the CM tells to Chiranjeevi that the what hurts more is the inaction of the intellectual or the inaction of the people in power. So when the people in power do not condemn it at the right time and allow the business communities to take out their ads, if they do not intervene at the right time, this will definitely be taken as something which the government is supporting. Here a BJP MP is doing it straight away. Yeah. Fine. Number two, few other newspapers like Guardian and the New York Times put it, they see it as a sort of majoritarian inferiority complex. You see, if some people from a community are actually celebrating your religion or promoting your religion, you should see that as what you call a vote for the wide range of your religion, rather than you are seeing that as a threat of your threat to your religion. I think the MP went on to say this, call it as Abrahamization of Hindu religion or something of that sort, which is utter bullshit. So majority is inferiority complex, and of course, as I explained, how the business environment would be hurt if you are unable to produce even an ad. What sort of business can you do? And the other thing is, you see, all this apart, there was another good article written by Rajiv Bhargava in the Hindu, which I found to be very near to the reality. We should understand that state is neither what Tejasvi Surya represents or a complete egalitarian one which we always envision. No, we should understand that we are a society which is transitioning from traditional values to modern values. So, what he was trying to represent, what Tejasvi Surya was trying to represent, was a purely traditional kind of society, or which is custom based, which is more, as I say, communal kind of society. Whereas this is not completely true, because as you see, with more and more urbanization, there is a lot of inter-religious contact and intermingling. Okay, I think just because a few trollwalas approved it on Twitter or downgraded their ratings, that does not represent the majoritarian view of the country. So that is one thing which he tries to put forward, number one. Number two, what he tells is that, you see, basically there is nothing called pure religion. You cannot say that this is purely Hindu. Not having a bindi is pure Hindu. Not having a bindu is bindi is non-Hindu. Or you cannot say that same-sex marriages is not Hindu. These are all proper bullshit, because there is nothing like a pure religion, especially in a diverse country like India. What we are undergoing is something called as cultural syncretism, wherein there is a lot of intermingling of several faiths. You cannot say that this is purely Hindu, so and this is mine, so you cannot be doing this. Next, what he also tells is that there is social intolerance, of course, but it is hugely exaggerated, because a minority in the majority are trying to forward it very strongly using their power, but this is not the truth. And he also points out one drawback in the capitalist market. You see, capitalists have got a lot of power, but the moment they found a slight threat to their brand, they pulled out their brands. So overall, what he tells is that capitalists are only following the majoritarian trends, but they are not a force for change. So these are few observations he makes. So with respect to GS4, what are our broad takeaways? You see, there is something called society. Sorry, there is something called social norms, and there is a personal reality, personal ethics and professional ethics. Okay. So what's happening here at marriage level, family level, religion, they're all personal things. But the so-called social norms are trying to impose change the personal likes and dislikes of people, like whom they marry, how they marry, even at this age. And in a society like ours, where we uphold constitutional values, where we at least try to uphold the constitutional values to the with utmost respect. So this is something which should not be encouraged. So we can write it as a conflict between these two values. Okay, there are other domains as well. We'll try to explore that later on. With respect to society, we are understanding how there is a change from traditional to modern society, and there are what you call it goes forward, it comes backward. It goes forward, it comes back. We have advanced a lot in terms of technology, but our social mores are still lagging. So this is one observation for that. And with respect to governance, we should understand that, you see, first with respect to business governance, we have discussed, and when there is a lot of gap between state and society, when the society is still trying to be very backward, and the government is supporting or mutely supporting such backward trends in a society, it would lead to a lot of turbulence in the administration. That is one takeaway. So this is with respect to some important aspects of this editorial. Okay, chalo.